Welcome to Stoic Advanced Women. This is a space where we grow stronger through understanding, where modern dating meets timeless emotional intelligence. In today's video, we're diving into a topic that affects countless people but is rarely unpacked with the nuance it deserves: introversion, shyness, and social anxiety, especially in the context of dating. Now, whether you're someone who dreads small talk, struggles with initiating connections, or often finds themselves emotionally drained after a date, this video is for you. Because let's be honest, romantic connection is one of the most powerful forces in life. But when you're navigating dating as an introvert, or while feeling shy, or when you're battling social anxiety, it can feel like you're playing the game with weights strapped to your ankles. And it doesn't have to be that way. So today, we're going to do 3 powerful things. Clearly define what introversion, shyness, and social anxiety really are, and how they're different. Explore how each of these traits uniquely shapes the way we show up in romantic interactions. Equip you with tools, mindsets, and boundaries that support healthier dating experiences, whether you're dating casually, seriously, or just taking your first step back into the arena. Let's begin by laying the foundation, with a truth that's often misunderstood. Section 1, Understanding Introversion, the Power of Solitude. Let's start with introversion, because this term is often the most misunderstood, and most underestimated, when it comes to dating. What is introversion, really? Contrary to what pop culture may have you believe, introversion is not the same thing as shyness. And it's definitely not a synonym for social anxiety. While these experiences can overlap, they are not identical, and knowing the difference is essential to knowing yourself. Introversion, at its core, is a personality trait that describes where you draw your energy from. If you're an introvert, you feel most alive and grounded when you're in calm, quiet, and reflective environments. You recharge your emotional battery through solitude, not through stimulation. Think of it this way. An introvert can enjoy social events, be confident in conversations, and even love connecting with people deeply. But after socializing, they feel drained, not energized. It's not about whether you like people, it's about how much energy socializing costs you. Now, compare this with extroverts, who tend to feel more alive the more interaction they experience. Social events give them fuel. For introverts, social events spend fuel. That distinction is important, because in dating, energy management is everything. Myth: introverts are antisocial or lack confidence. Let's be absolutely clear, being introverted does not mean you're antisocial. It also doesn't mean you lack confidence, leadership skills, or the ability to hold space in a relationship. In fact, some of the most grounded, intuitive, and emotionally. Mechanism. Studies suggest that each ejaculatory event causes a brief, temporary drop in DHT levels. It's like giving your prostate a breather, a moment of relief from hormonal pressure. This is not a miracle pill. But in the context of consistent habits, daily ejaculation can be part of a hormonal dance that supports balance rather than chaos. And when you add resistance training, proper sleep, and nutritional support into the mix, foods rich in zinc, healthy fats, and B vitamins, you reinforce that balance. So, daily ejaculation? Think of it as one instrument in a full orchestra. It's not the symphony itself, but it keeps the rhythm. Emotional equilibrium and sexual self-awareness. We must go deeper still, because your health is not only physical. Emotional stagnation can wreak havoc on hormonal cycles and vice versa. The emotional relationship you have with your body, your sexuality, and your aging process is everything. Daily ejaculation can serve a purpose beyond release. It is a moment of self-connection, body awareness, and reflection. It can reduce stress, promote better sleep, and enhance mood through the release of endorphins and oxytocin. This is not a justification for escapism, but a reframing, ejaculation as sacred maintenance, not secret shame. And when a man is more connected to his body, he is more likely to notice the signs when something feels off, more in tune with physical cues that might otherwise go unnoticed until it's too late. Breaking the silence, myths around masturbation and masculinity. Now let's confront a cultural truth. For centuries, men have been bombarded with mixed messages about masturbation. It's been labeled everything from shameful to sinful, from lazy to unhealthy. These narratives aren't just wrong, they're harmful. One of the most destructive myths is that masturbation diminishes masculinity. That if a man engages in self-pleasure, he lacks discipline or strength. In reality, self-awareness and bodily autonomy are expressions of deep discipline and self-respect. Another myth suggests that frequent masturbation leads to erectile dysfunction or infertility. This has been repeatedly disproven by medical science. What causes dysfunction is often the lack of regular sexual activity, compounded by stress, poor circulation, or hormonal imbalance. And perhaps the most toxic myth? That men should ignore their sexual needs until partnered. This leads to suppression, shame, and silence, none of which foster healthy relationships or long-term well-being. Here's the truth: masturbation is natural. When practiced mindfully, it's not only harmless, it's health-enhancing. It keeps systems moving, fosters self-knowledge, and helps men maintain clarity about what they want, need, and feel. The real enemy isn't the act, it's the absence of understanding. Fueling the gland, prostate-specific nutrition. Your prostate, like any high-functioning system in the body, thrives on the right fuel. Nutrition isn't just about fear of judgment or rejection. What if they don't like me? This fear can paralyze you into silence or withdrawal. Low self-worth or body image issues. If you don't feel worthy, attractive, or confident in yourself, that will show up in your dating energy. Lack of social experience. If you haven't dated much, or if you've spent a long time alone, you might simply feel rusty or awkward. Past trauma or embarrassment. A bad first date. A cruel comment. A toxic relationship. Even one painful memory can create lasting shyness. Perfectionism. If you feel like you have to say everything just right, you'll likely say very little. How to overcome shyness in dating, the emotional toolkit. Shyness doesn't have to define your dating life. It's workable. Here's a toolkit to help you build ease, confidence, and self-trust over time. 1. Use exposure therapy, gradual desensitization. This doesn't mean throwing yourself into the deep end. It means taking small, manageable steps outside your comfort zone. Examples. Make small talk with a stranger once a week. Join a social meetup with low pressure, like a book club or hiking group. Go on short, low-stakes coffee dates just to practice. The more you expose your nervous system to social settings, and come out okay, the more your brain rewires the fear response. 2. Practice conversation starters and roleplay. Yes, it sounds dorky, but it works. Practice talking to yourself in the mirror. Write out common conversation starters. Roleplay with a coach or trusted friend. Get used to hearing your own voice in social contexts. Confidence isn't about never being nervous, it's about getting comfortable being yourself, even while nervous. 3. Address the root beliefs. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I speak up? What do I believe about my worth in romantic situations? Where did this belief come from, and is it still serving me? You can journal these. You can work with a therapist or coach. The goal is to dismantle the old, limiting narratives so you can reclaim your agency. 4. Celebrate small wins. Did you initiate conversation today? Did you ask a question instead of overthinking your response? Did you show up even though you were nervous? Those are victories. Celebrate them. Confidence is built in inches, not miles. 5. Create post-date rituals. Shyness often causes overthinking after the date just as much as before or during. You replay the conversation. You question everything. You spiral. So give yourself a ritual to land your energy post-date. Examples. Take a walk. Do breathwork or journal. Call a friend to debrief. Remind yourself, I'm proud of showing up. This helps your nervous system recover and avoid spiraling into self-judgment. How dating gets easier as shyness fades. As you begin to work with shyness instead of against it, something magical happens. You start to trust yourself more. You stop rehearsing every word in your head. You begin to relax into presence. You connect more authentic all. And you realize, your value was never in how perfectly you spoke. It was in your willingness to show up as yourself. That's the kind of energy that attracts aligned partners. That's the kind of presence that builds connection. That's the kind of growth that reshapes your entire experience of dating. Part 3 / Social Anxiety in Dating, Breaking Through the Fear Loop. Welcome back to Stoic Advanced Women, where we decode the inner world to help you navigate relationships with clarity, strength, and emotional intelligence. Today, we go deep into a topic that is rarely spoken about with enough care or nuance. Social anxiety in the dating world. This isn't just about butterflies before a date. It's about crippling fear. The kind that tells you, you'll embarrass yourself. They'll judge you. It's safer to just stay home. It's not introversion. It's not typical shyness. Social anxiety is its own category. And it deserves its own path to healing. Let's break it down, piece by piece. What is social anxiety, really? Social anxiety is a mental health condition, officially recognized as social anxiety disorder, SAD, in psychology. It's characterized by a deep, persistent fear of social judgment, embarrassment, or humiliation, even in the most ordinary situations. Here's how it might show up in dating. Canceling a date last minute because your chest feels tight with dread. Avoiding eye contact or conversation because your mind is blank. Feeling nauseous or sweaty when you think about going out. Overanalyzing every word you said for hours or days afterward. Completely withdrawing from dating because the fear outweighs the desire. And no, this isn't something people can just snap out of. This is real, it is common, and it is treatable. The hidden layers of social anxiety. What makes social anxiety so intense is that it doesn't just attack your thoughts. It hijacks your entire nervous system. Your body reacts as though you're in actual danger. Your brain's amygdala, the fear center, fires like you're being chased by a lion, even if you're just walking into a cafe to meet someone. Here are the typical symptoms. Physical. Rapid heartbeat. Sweating. Shaking. Nausea. Dry mouth. Muscle tension. Shortness of breath. Emotional/mental. Fear of being judged, rejected, or humiliated. Intrusive thoughts like I'm going to mess this up or they're laughing at me. Catastrophizing about worst-case scenarios. Mental blankness, you forget what you wanted to say. And what's cruel about social anxiety is this. You deeply want connection. But your body treats connection like a threat. Social anxiety versus shyness versus introversion, the real differences. To clarify once more. Introversion is a natural temperament. You prefer solitude and get overstimulated easily. It's not fear-based. Shyness is mild discomfort in social settings. You can usually push through it with a bit of effort. Social anxiety, on the other hand, is a debilitating, persistent fear of. It was in your willingness to show up as yourself. That's the kind of energy that attracts aligned partners. That's the kind of presence that builds connection. That's the kind of growth that reshapes your entire experience of dating. Part 3 / Social Anxiety in Dating, Breaking Through the Fear Loop. Welcome back to Stoic Advanced Women, where we decode the inner world to help you navigate relationships with clarity, strength, and emotional intelligence. Today, we go deep into a topic that is rarely spoken about with enough care or nuance. Social anxiety in the dating world. This isn't just about butterflies before a date. It's about crippling fear. The kind that tells you, you'll embarrass yourself. They'll judge you. It's safer to just stay home. It's not introversion. It's not typical shyness. Social anxiety is its own category. And it deserves its own path to healing. Let's break it down, piece by piece. What is social anxiety, really? Social anxiety is a mental health condition, officially recognized as social anxiety disorder, SAD, in psychology. It's characterized by a deep, persistent fear of social judgment, embarrassment, or humiliation, even in the most ordinary situations. Here's how it might show up in dating. Canceling a date last minute because your chest feels tight with dread. Avoiding eye contact or conversation because your mind is blank. Feeling nauseous or sweaty when you think about going out. Overanalyzing every word you said for hours or days afterward. Completely withdrawing from dating because the fear outweighs the desire. And no, this isn't something people can just snap out of. This is real, it is common, and it is treatable. The hidden layers of social anxiety. What makes social anxiety so intense is that it doesn't just attack your thoughts. It hijacks your entire nervous system. Your body reacts as though you're in actual danger. Your brain's amygdala, the fear center, fires like you're being chased by a lion, even if you're just walking into a cafe to meet someone. Here are the typical symptoms. Physical. Rapid heartbeat. Sweating. Shaking. Nausea. Dry mouth. Muscle tension. Shortness of breath. Emotional/mental. Fear of being judged, rejected, or humiliated. Intrusive thoughts like I'm going to mess this up or they're laughing at me. Catastrophizing about worst-case scenarios. Mental blankness, you forget what you wanted to say. And what's cruel about social anxiety is this. You deeply want connection. But your body treats connection like a threat. Social anxiety versus shyness versus introversion, the real differences. To clarify once more. Introversion is a natural temperament. You prefer solitude and get overstimulated easily. It's not fear-based. Shyness is mild discomfort in social settings. You can usually push through it with a bit of effort. Social anxiety, on the other hand, is a debilitating, persistent fear of being seen, judged, or rejected. It's the difference between feeling nervous and feeling like your entire self is under attack just by showing up. Famous people who've spoken about social anxiety. You are not alone in this. In fact, many high-functioning, charismatic people experience it behind closed doors. Adele has spoken about feeling extreme anxiety before live performances. Jennifer Lawrence admits to having social anxiety that made her dread interviews and public appearances. Lady Gaga has shared that she still gets severe anxiety when meeting people, despite her fame. These are people who seem fearless to the outside world, but internally, they're fighting the same battle. How social anxiety impacts dating. Let's be real, dating is already vulnerable. You're showing up. You're being seen. You're risking rejection. Now imagine trying to do all that while feeling like your voice might crack. Your hands won't stop shaking. Your brain is frozen. Your inner critic is screaming nonstop. This is not about being bad at dating. This is about being in a physiological stress response. And sadly, because social anxiety is invisible, many people just blame themselves. They think, why can't I just be normal? Why do I ruin every date? Maybe I'm just not cut out for love. But here's the truth. Backhand index pointing right, you are not broken. Your nervous system is trying to protect you. The challenge is that it's overreacting. And with the right tools, you can gently retrain it. What causes social anxiety? There is no one-size-fits-all reason, but here are some common roots. 1. Early childhood experiences. Overly critical parents. Bullying or social rejection. Being punished for speaking up. These experiences teach the brain, being seen equals being hurt. 2. Perfectionism. If you feel like you must perform flawlessly in social settings, any perceived imperfection can trigger shame and panic. 3. Social conditioning. If you were raised to be quiet, not make a scene, or always be liked, then the pressure to conform can lead to internalized anxiety. 4. Genetic and neurological factors. Some people are simply wired with more sensitive fear responses, especially in social contexts. Dating with social anxiety, the emotional battleground. Let's walk through what dating often feels like when you have social anxiety. Before the date, you panic. You think about canceling. You imagine everything going wrong. You run through scripts in your head. During the date, your body is in fight or flight. You're self-conscious. You watch their face for signs of judgment. You struggle to be present. After the date, you replay the conversation over and over. You critique yourself harshly. You feel drained and ashamed. This isn't just being nervous. It's an emotional war zone. How to work with social anxiety, the healing toolkit. Healing from social anxiety takes patience, support, and practice. But it's absolutely possible. Here's a roadmap. 1. Seek professional help, therapy. This is step 1. Always. Cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT is one of the most effective treatments for social anxiety. It helps you reframe catastrophic thoughts, challenge self-defeating beliefs, develop new behavioral patterns. You're not weak for needing therapy. You're wise for investing in your emotional health. 2. Practice somatic grounding. When anxiety floods the body, thinking alone won't fix it. You need somatic tools to calm your nervous system. Some examples. Box breathing, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Progressive muscle relaxation, tense and release each muscle group. Cold exposure, rinsing your hands in cold water can downregulate anxiety. Vagus nerve stimulation, humming, gargling, or chanting to soothe the body. These tools train your body to stop reacting as if you're in danger. 3. Use a social anxiety journal. Track your experiences. Note what triggered you, what you feared would happen, what actually happened, what strengths you showed. This builds self-awareness and helps weaken the anxiety's hold over time. 4. Go on low-pressure practice dates. Instead of treating every date like a soulmate interview, try reframing dates as social experiments. Can you stay curious? Can you breathe through the nerves? Can you leave judgment at the door? Practice helps, especially when the stakes are low. 5. Set gentle social goals. Start small. Smile at someone in line. Ask a cashier how their day is. Say hi to someone at the gym. These micro-moments retrain your social muscle and build confidence. 6. Build a predate ritual. Develop a calming predate routine that prepares you emotionally. Try this. Take a warm shower. Listen to music that makes you feel powerful. Use grounding affirmations like, I am allowed to be imperfect. I am safe to be seen. Connection doesn't require performance. Let this ritual be your emotional armor. When dating feels too overwhelming, it's okay to pause. You don't have to date nonstop to prove your worth. If your anxiety is too intense right now, it's okay to take a break and focus on healing. Love will still be there when you return. Remember, your nervous system is not your enemy. It just needs to learn that love is safe again. Part 4/4, the Integrated Dating Toolkit Plus Conclusion, How to Date with Confidence, Boundaries, and Self-Honesty. Welcome back to Stoic Advanced Women, your space for clarity, strength, and emotional sovereignty in dating and life. We've explored the unique energies of introversion, the gentle challenge of shyness, and the deeply personal struggle of social anxiety. Now, it's time to bring all of that understanding into one powerful, practical dating toolkit. Whether you recharge alone, hesitate in social circles, or struggle with fear and panic in connection, you are not broken. You simply need a tailored path, one that honors your nervous system, your values, and your unique rhythm. This final chapter is for you. Let's build it together. Toolbox: the Integrated Dating Toolkit. Designed for the thoughtful. Confused face discomfort. You feel emotionally unsafe or dismissed. You're stretching socially, but in a manageable way. They belittle your quietness or anxiety. You're nervous but still curious. They override your boundaries. You feel vulnerable, but not violated. You're masking or pretending. You're growing into authenticity. Sparkles. If you're unsure, check your body. Does it feel like relief or contraction after the date? 5. Texting and communication boundaries. You are allowed to be thoughtful with your replies, slow to respond, selective about your availability. Scripts for common scenarios. White heavy checkmark if you need time. Hey, I really enjoyed meeting you. I'm just decompressing and will reach out soon. White heavy checkmark if you're not feeling a connection. Thanks for sharing space with me. I didn't feel a spark, but I'm grateful we connected. White heavy checkmark if someone pressures you. I move a little slower when I'm getting to know someone. If that doesn't work for you, I understand. 6. The power of saying no. You don't owe anyone access to your time, body, or emotions just because they're interested. You're allowed to say no without apologizing. Cancel plans if your body needs rest. Step back if dating is burning you out. A regulated nervous system is far more attractive than people-pleasing. 7. Reframing dating itself. Dating is not a test you pass. It's not a performance. It's not a series of auditions. It is a mirror. It reflects your emotional resilience, your relational standards, your commitment to self-respect. When you show up as you are, with boundaries, awareness, and patience, you attract people who are safe for your nervous system, not just stimulating to your ego. Lightbulb closing words, what you are is enough. Whether you're introverted, shy, anxious, or all three in different seasons, you are already whole. Your gentleness is not weakness. Your depth is not a delay. Your caution is not a character flaw. In fact, they may be your greatest superpowers in a world that often prizes speed, noise, and performative confidence. So here is your final reminder. You do not need to become more extroverted to be loved. Fire, you do not need to be fearless to be worthy of connection. Gemstone, you do not need to perform to be chosen. You just need to choose yourself, again and again, until your dating life becomes an expression of your truth, not an escape from your fear. Wrapped gift bonus, the Dating Calm Toolkit Summary. Here's a quick reference cheat sheet to revisit. Tool purpose. Breathwork and somatic grounding calm the nervous system. Conversation templates ease social pressure. Predate rituals anchor into your values. Gentle exit strategies maintain boundaries. Emotional journaling process post-date emotions. Red flag versus discomfort chart tune into body wisdom. Communication scripts speak your needs. Scheduled breaks avoid burnout. Red heart, thank you for being here. If this video series resonated with you, if it felt like someone finally gets you, then you're not alone anymore. You're part of this community now. Hit that like, subscribe, and share this with someone you know is navigating dating while protecting their peace. And always remember, healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally being safe to be who you've always been.